Ah, not bad. Not bad yourself.
I'm okay. I'd be better if I could get this plumbing. Ah, right. It's just behind. That's all it is. I've got all the chat here, but the actual YouTube. Ah, there it goes.
Right, afternoon, Eddie. Afternoon, Stuart. Vince.
As expected, we've got a
Eddie.
juicy drop.
Okay.
At the moment.
Or sort out Facebook.
So we can skip the ads. There we go. Hi guys, how yous all doing?
Don't shout for Christ's sake.
I'm hoping they can shout back.
Anyway, how you alright?
Oh,
right, who else is in? Desiree's in, Dylan's in.
Yeah.
Hi Dylan, how's it going, son? Hey. Lorraine's in, with Pet's in, Chris is in. Hi Chris. Hey. Stephen Bankier's in.
Yeah.
With Pet, how's it going?
Margaret.
Bruce is in.
Mr. Kilpatrick, Duncan Strang.
Anna's in. Tories don't get tasered. Son.
Yeah. I love that. I really do. Honestly, I love that.
We've got Chris, we've got Margaret, we've got Ali, we've got Vince.
Is Mother She Wrote in?
Oh yeah. We'll get Kay in. Duncan's in. Thomas is in. Hey, Stephen McNeil's in. Alistair Kerr's in.
Oh, there she is.
Hi Paul. Hi Stephen.
Murder She Wrote. Hands on typewriter. Hi Barbara.
Hi, Icelander's in. Fiona's in. John Wardrobe's in. Hey, everyone's in.
Richard Atkinson. Geordie 371.
Hi Margaret.
I wonder if Geordie, are you a real Geordie?
Maybe.
Is your favourite TV programme YI50? Possibly.
YI50, you go. Hi Harry. Hi Alexander. Yeah, numbers are climbing nicely yet, but I haven't seen a Facebook member yet. We've got a Pat, Bruce, David. Good afternoon to you all.
I see that CIS is becoming really popular down in Newcastle. It's the Cooperative Insurance Society.
Aye. Hi Julie. The numbers are climbing nicely, but we're not seeing Facebook yet. So we're just waiting for Facebook mob come in. Hi Hugh. Hi James.
It's quite odd when you see all the different, our images on different formats, and they're all running at different different speeds.
Well, apparently we've got SNP MP watching. Welcome SNP MP.
Yeah.
He's talking about Chris Law in the Commons yesterday. Did you see it?
I heard something about it, but I didn't. Go on, tell us.
Chris gets up and he's asking the final question at the Prime Minister's, but it's better left to let breakfast armour. Anyway, he calls Labour and Tory two cheeks of the same arse, and I'm going like, proud of you, dear boy. Anyway, the speaker gets up and tells him to behave himself, and he changes the language. So he says, all right then. Thanks, Stephen. That's very generous of you. Per character stretching his arm forward, raising his thumb. Right, anyway, he tells him to change his language, so Chris says, okay then, two cheeks of the same bottom. So he probably has been watching, but I've known Chris a long time. Back in the days when he was running about with his green goddess.
That's right.
Painted as a spirit of independence.
We all followed that at the time. That was just brilliant.
I believe it or not, his route was plotted for Nova Scotia.
Right.
Aye. Don Hutchins there in Nova Scotia. I mean, she's part of your admin team in a big yes, no?
Yeah.
So she plotted the course for him for Nova Scotia. Right, where are we? Viewing figures. Still haven't seen anybody in for Facebook. A bit slow on Facebook today. Well, we're up there 100 mark, so let's get this programme underway, David.
Okay.
Subject number 1, RAC.
Yes. Not Iraq, but RAC.
Reinforced autoclave aerated concrete, better known as the Aero Bar across Europe. Right, England now has 32,000 plus students on part-time learning. or sorting a 12,000 in full remote learning, if you like, because of the problems doing that road, right? Now, on their list so far, 143, I think it might have went up since our last look, have definitely got a section of the whole schools are closed. Now, obviously, after the pandemic and things like that, this is no great, you know. And as we know, the Tory Education Minister doing that road, Keegan, didn't he? Gillian Keegan didn't cover herself in glory, blaming it on the local authorities for no maintaining the buildings properly. There might be something to that, David. There might be.
Is that Gillian Keegan that spent 34 million on her office?
Yes.
Is that the Gillian Keegan whose husband is an IT expert and you got £1 million contract out doing that office?
Yes, the very one.
Honestly, yep. you just couldn't make it up.
No, you couldn't, could you?
All the time.
Oh,
any chance you get, yeah, let's get a few more bucks out here and a few more bucks out. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, since I wrote this piece, because I've obviously got to cover it here in Scotland as well, we've now got 40 education establishments here in Scotland who have got this type of concrete and their superstructures.
There's an but here, and you're going to tell them?
Yes. Since devolution, and this is basically when this came to light in '99, when the Institute of Architects doing that road or whatever the equivalent was at the time, I covered in the video the other day, said there was very low risk, but keep an eye on it. Well, at that point in time, of course, devolution had come in, education was fully devolved, and the Scottish governments, including Labour, Lib Dem, and since the SNP, have actually maintained the buildings. So out of the 40 schools, there's only one building had to close, and that is a gymnasium here in Ayrshire that's had to close. And that's just a precaution, because what the Institute for Architects here in Scotland are saying is because the maintenance programme has been a good maintenance programme, then there's no problem with the RAC here in Scotland at this point in time, right? So basically, there isn't going to be any major water ingress into this material in the buildings here in Scotland.
That's the critical issue, is the fact that if you let the maintenance run down, if you don't spend the money to maintain these buildings, they will end up with leaks, and the leaks will get into the rebar or whatever's inside the concrete, and it will rust and expand and crack the concrete.
Aye. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see everybody watching this on Facebook, but it would appear it hadn't been put public, so hopefully we'll start getting comments through now. Anyway, so at the schools here in Scotland, 40 have been identified, and surveys so far shows that the material is still in very good condition, so it's no risk to life. Because as we know, that's interesting, class action. You've also heard that since there was 19 letters that are in now of no confidence, but after yesterday's Prime Minister's question time, apparently it's now up to 30 odd letters, and they're in 36, it will be 38 letters. I'm getting near that point.
Crucial number just remains 54, isn't it?
Anyway, that's interesting. So here in Scotland, there is RAC in public buildings, but if the maintenance of these buildings has been good, then the chances of the RAC having deteriorated is slim to bugger all. But and the problem in England, it really is outrageous. And to watch that pantomime yesterday, Prime Minister's questions, I did a video on it because it was a pantomime. You know, what they were really doing, David, was the Labour Party knew about this in '99, although it was only a minor issue. They were warned that it's becoming an issue in 2002, and then again in 2007. 2010, just as it looked like they might leave office because of the election in 2011, they introduced a £55 billion programme to redo 400 schools a year. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 2011, they lost that bloody election before implementing the programme, and the Tory Lib Dems scrapped the programme. And it's been a repeat of what Labour did, kick it into long grass, to now at the point where schools are being closed. And the bill will be much higher now than what it would have been to repair it back in the day.
However, subsequent to 2007, the SNP in Scotland put together quite a large school building programme.
That's right. Aye.
I was involved in a few of them doing the clocks, the clock
Aye.
system. So that was, they went from where Labour were doing the PPI, PFI system, right? And then SNP did this thing whereby it was a non-profit.
Yeah, that's when PPI came in, the public-private initiative. And it's not done the same terms as it was with Labour. Under Labour, it was a case of, they paid way over the odds to private sector. Thanks, Dylan, very generous of you. The private sector provided all the finance. Yeah. With the public and private initiative, then the government stumped up at least half the finance. Yeah. And that broke and of course the max that was in the contracts was a maximum that they were allowed to make in profit, the private sector. Yes. On the contracts, and I believe it was set at 12% over the life of the building.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an absolutely amazing little primary school at the back of us.
Right.
And I've been in it a few times. Wow, wonderful build that is.
Hi, Kevin. Facebook, welcome aboard. I'm sorry I was a wee bit late making this public. It wasn't me actually. It was Facebook. I did it right away at the beginning of the show. I'll get in the naughty step. She's woman. At least for another 7 seconds before you start to get your arse in the naughty step and don't sit and don't because we were having a look at things, folks, and believe it or not, we didn't know that when we scheduled a live, we had to get into content and monetize it. So most of our videos hasn't been making ad money, believe it or not. So all the money that we've been giving out has been your generosity, folks.
That's right.
Now we're talking on advertising revenues. Maybe we're going to make a wee bit of these programmes, and that'll boost the pot. Okay, right, let's move on to number 2. Rachel Reeves, Labour's Chancellor in waiting, took a right kicking from the public over a fiscal policy on a LBC, right?
Yeah.
Now, they went, the callers come on, it was really quite clever, and they get it right doing about sticking to the fiscal framework which is already in place, saying you're keeping the 2-child benefit cap, you're keeping the rape clause, you're keeping the bedroom tax, all these things that really hit the least amongst us, the hardest, right? And she was struggling to be able to point out the difference between Labour and the Tories, and then she remembered. Thanks, Barbara. Very generous of you. Yeah. Wrong one.
Shiva dog shouting good luck in a megaphone.
Right. Thank you very much. Anyway, so she remembers that Labour's pledge, the only one that there's no U-turn on so far, to do away with non-dom status. So that's what she brings up as being the difference.
Now, she held quite a lofty position prior to all this. She was an economist, wasn't she?
Yep, at the Bank of England.
Bank of England, so...
anyway, she goes on to say the only way out is growth. And of course it is, but there's no growth in the private sector if you don't invest in the public sector.
Yeah, that's right.
Simple as that. Anyway, she goes on to explain the difference is they're going to deal with non-dom. And that would raise 3.2 billion. That's a piston in the wind. For what's needed. But they're not going to borrow against this. They're not going to. West Streeton was also on taking a dooner whether they could commit to fixing these schools because they said they can't commit because they don't think there's any money. Wow. What is it to say is I will fix the bloody schools.
And these people are actually given these positions on the front benches of Westminster.
Okay,
when West Streeton blooming going, there's no money.
Aye.
Then obviously, if we know where the money comes from and how surely an MP sitting in Westminster, certainly sitting in the front bench in Westminster, should know.
Margaret sent a super sticker with lemon character laughing out loud. Thank you very much, Margaret. So she then, after that, the guy comes on and goes through on, and there's a young woman phones in and gives her a quote, right, about how you stimulate growth and how you get the economy going, about a wealth tax and all that sort of thing, right? Anyway, Ian Dale reads it out to her. Reads a quote out, sorry, listens to the wee lass's quote, and he's cordoned on, right? But the wee lass is on to tell the researcher, by the way, this quote was by Rachel Reeves back in 2010. Right, so she's talking about all the things that Labour have U-turned on. That's what you need today to get the economy going. Tax the rich, get rid of non-dom status, introduce a levelling up when it comes to those who are getting money on getting their income via dividend as opposed to via PAYE, so that everybody's paying fairer taxes across the board. Right. Now, you and I know a bit about taking money with dividends, David. We've both run businesses. You probably get yours as a dividend, you know. It's the wise thing to do. So we're talking about at least putting a wee bit on those who are taking their wages by dividends in the form of an income tax of some sort. You know, because as you and I know, we only pay 4% through that method. Right, I'm giving a wee secrets here, David. So
no, it's not as straightforward as that now.
No.
Right? No, I could take a program up, explain this to you. It's not as lucrative as it once was.
No, I know it's a wee bit more now, but anyway, she also seemed to imply that the cruel benefit regime would carry on, claiming Labour's policies were aimed at helping working people and not those out of work. And she also claimed the way to improve public services and raise more tax is by growing the economy. But here's the funny thing. For 13 years, we've had the Tories talking about grow the economy, grow the economy, grow the economy. Now, as we all know, you can't grow the economy if you don't invest in public services and you don't invest in infrastructure, which is something that Labour are not going to do. Because as we keep getting to Rachel Reeves and from the rest of the new Labour front bench, is there's no money left.
Yeah, that's what Labour left them with a wee bit. But as far as I'm concerned,
you know that made the headlines. That made the headlines for absolutely no reason. When Gordon Brown supposed to have left the note saying there's no money left. There was Alistair Darling with Chancellor. Do you know it's tradition that every government for the last 45 years at the end of the last 40 or 50 years at the end of Parliament would leave that wee note.
Fine. It means nothing because for anybody to say there's no money left, obviously is flying in the face of how money is actually raised for government programmes.
Yeah. The big problem is no way money. The big problem is ensuring that you tax it back properly.
Right. Yes.
You don't have a massive deficit.
As you explained the other day there, if you just gave money out willy-nilly, the government's going to get back everything bar 17%. Anyway. Yeah. So, as far as anybody is looking at the what's it called, David? The income, basic income. What was it called again? Forget the name of it. The one where the government actually pay everybody instead of paying pensioners a pension and paying benefits.
Oh, universal basic income.
Yeah, basic income. There you go. There's your answer. It's how can the government possibly give out money to people on a universal basic income? Well, there's your answer. Everything that is put out is taxed back again, a bar 17%.
Yep. And of course, that could be reduced as well, because you could increase the amount you bring back in taxes.
Correct.
Just by fluctuating the tax levels.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, anyway, so it would appear that Labour have definitely, they have abandoned benefit claimants, work seekers, and anybody who's not already in the system as a worker. So no longer the party of the people. It's a bloody disgrace. It really is.
It's, as far as I'm concerned, we should all go out and buy a megaphone and tell everybody what Labour are up to, and the fact that they have become a Tory party, as simple as that.
I heard the best described on I think it was the Double Down News, on the Vara Media, where the commentator there just described a new Labour as a party of the state, a party of the 1%, a party of the ruling elite. And it went in to explain the class system and how it works, and that actually the government's doing, and this one's going to make everybody laugh, but actually the government's doing a wonderful job for those that the government works for. The point is, the government doesn't work for us, you know. So apparently, we'll get to all that stuff, Desiree, but apparently the government's doing a fantastic job, according to this guy in the bar media, because they are and I heard this in the Irish Parliament actually as well, that the government in Ireland are doing great and all, but they're only doing great for the people they work for, and the people they work for under the general public, they work for the established order, you know. And as I say, this guy's going to explain the class system and how it works and how you climb the greasy pole with the right school tie and all that push, you know.
I suggest that everybody has a wee look at what's going on in Southern Ireland at the moment, because in government terms it's not very good, and it's wise for us to keep an eye on this, because at some point in the future we are going to be an independent country, and we've got to be able to avoid the pitfalls that are happening. Okay.
We don't really have a class system like that here, David. You know, if somebody comes in the corner with a multi-million quid car or sort of a multi-millionaire walks into the room, starts posting about their wealth here in Scotland, get slapped. Yeah. We don't really care. As long as you're a nice guy, you're all right. If you're not a nice guy, you get the wanker badge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be our honours system, isn't it? Good guy, wanker.
No, it's wank.
As Lindsay Hoy says, we have to be careful with our language here. Good guy, masturbator.
Oh dear. Right, okay.
Hey, let's move on. Hey, the Red Tory leader down there in the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers has had a reshuffle of his front bench. You can pull it up, David. Anyway, he's basically did away with anybody in the left that he could get rid of. And he's built his front bench with Blairites on steroids, apparently. So basically, Tories with red rosettes.
Yeah, what I'm going to pull up is the article in Politico. Keir Starmer bolsters UK Labour's right flank in sweeping reshuffle. I'll just pop that up so you can share it if you want to, David.
I'll stick it in the green room and I'll put it on the screen. And that way people will see that and see your ugly mugs.
Right, there you go.
Okay, here we go.
Right. Yeah, I won't go deep into it. Political is actually quite good at times, right? Labour leader Starmer promoted key figures on the right of his party in a wide-ranging opposition reshuffle Monday. The Labour boss, whose party is ahead of the governing Conservatives in the polls with an expected 2024 general election looming, kicked off a new parliamentary session with a host of changes to his front bench lineup, including demoting one-time leadership rival Lisa Nandy and shaking up his campaign team. Now, I want you to understand this. Lisa Nandy, on another article, has been put forward as soft left.
That's right.
Lisa Nandy is a soft left. I'd hate to see a hard one, right? It's like she's the one I would like you to remember that actually came out with a statement about Scottish independence, where she said what Scotland needs is handling like Catalonia, including the batons and the troops dressed in black. That was Lisa Nandy. My goodness me. Is this what we've got coming into the number 10 possibly in the future? Right. Nandy, who ran for Labour leader in the 2020 contest, saw that Starmer triumphed and once served as his foreign secretary, moves from levelling up and housing brief to become shadow cabinet minister for international development. Right. obviously, Starmer is getting rid of Nandy because he sees her as a future threat.
Now, what was interesting with Lisa Nandy and the position he gave her, was that international development?
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, international development, yes.
Guess what? There isn't a department for international development anywhere.
Yeah.
So basically, you give her a bogus title and tell her to sit in the background and shut up. Now, I've read that he really wanted to get shot here on again, didn't want her anywhere near his front bench.
Shadow Minister for Public Toilets. That might have been better. Right, so I'll take that out, okay?
Right, now, the big problem that's facing Starmer is there's two big beasts there that he can't get rid of. He can't get rid of Rayner, and at this point in time, he's frightened to make a move on Miliband. But apart from that, everybody else that he's promoted are absolutely unknowns. Talentless, unknown stooges.
Yeah, it's all down to political strength within the party.
Aye. Now, but what it did say in the article I read was that Miliband is coming from Miliband because Miliband's a threat. There's nothing he can do, absolutely nothing he can do about Rayner. And the other thing that Rayner's got a policy position over, which Starmer doesn't like, is she's still got policy permission over workers' rights, and she's a wee bit to the left. You know, Rayner's a left winger.
Yeah.
So he can't get rid of Rayner, but he wants to. And he wants to get rid of Miliband. Miliband's a project in progress to get shot at him.
He could get rid of her the way that he got rid of Corbyn, but there now isn't enough time between now and the general election to be able to do that.
Aye.
So therefore, Angela Rayner's going to stay.
So basically, his reshuffle falls the front bench with right wingers.
Yeah.
You know, so basically Tories. Unbelievable. And of course, we've seen the Labour Party drift further and further to the right since Starmer came in. We've seen them. I mean, what people have got to remember is this is a guy who lied to 330,000 party members to steal a political party and then move it to an establishment party again. It was an establishment party under Blair. Corbyn took it back to being the party of the people, and the establishment didn't like that, so the establishment destroyed Corbyn, and now Starmer is bringing the party back in line with the establishment's wants.
Okay, David, can I just intervene? Charles McGregor's putting up a URL for us to click. Unfortunately, we can't do that during a programme, Charles. So therefore, can we just leave it? If you need to contact one of us, we're both on Facebook. You can get us on that. All right. Sorry, David. Carry on.
Right. So basically, what's happening is the Starmer swept to the left altogether now, and we spoke about this last time. There's a purge on the left, what's left of the left-wing MPs to get them deselected. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the candidate that was parachuted into Rutherglen and Hamilton West wasn't the one that the people there wanted. It was a Starmer stooge. You know?
Is it possible, no matter how unlikely, that perhaps all these Labour bods are sitting there like swearing under their breath, right? And thinking if we can get in number 10, then we can boot Starmer?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah,
get rid of Starmer once again. You need to go back to membership.
That's right.
And I dare say there's maybe a vote of no confidence with the MPs to take it back in membership. I really can't say I know how it works, but I'll drop a demo of a line and see if he can get me up to speed on it.
Right.
You know. But as I say, it's no good. What they're saying is that these right wingers that are taking over the front bench of Starmer are they're pro-growth, anti fair taxation, and down on benefit claimants. Right. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Sound bloody familiar. Right, folks, this one's what David likes to call a blue moon one. It's something we're bringing up again because it's very important and now it's time to get a move on. The Mansion House speech, Jeremy Hunt changed policy on pensions and investments, and defined benefit pensions have now to be opened up to riskier investments up to 10%.
The important thing here is that if you're in work, you were forced to take part in the workplace pension. You saw it in your TV every night being advertised, right? So that was supposed to be a fair pension set up that the public were forced to take part in, right? And what David's going to say will just probably knock you off your seat as far as that's concerned.
Anyway, in the Manchester speech, he wanted to open up the pensions system. Now, Citigroup ran an article the other day saying that they're going to raid our pensions and savings to the tune of 225 billion to invest in the economy in risky new startups.
Yeah.
225 billion.
This is Gordon Brown again with a blooming.
The National Insurance Fund. That's right, it is. But what they're going to do is they're going to allow a pension company providers to go into defined benefit pensions, raid their funds, and gamble on the markets. A bit like the casino banking where they're now get casino pensions, right? So up to 10% of your pensions could be gambled with. Now, so far, only 6 firms, and I'll name them shortly, have signed up. 6 insurance companies have signed up to this, right?
Who are the 6 insurance companies?
I'll get to it in a minute because I want to get on to what the UK Institute of Insurers has said. Now, as a block, the UK Institute for Insurers has said this is not a good move. Defined benefit pensions are designed to deliver that benefit at the end of that pension scheme to the contributor. They're not to be gambled with in this way. Normally, defined benefit pensions are invested in things like government bonds and things like that, things that will get a guaranteed yield. You know, so they're not impressed. But 6 of the major pension providers are signed up to this, folks. And the reason for this blue moon subject is I'm going to name them. If you're in work, you've got a workplace pension, get a pen. Because if your pension pot is in one of these, get it moved. And as Sarah's discovered, 2 of her pensions are in every one of these companies. We've got 2 of these companies. Right, so who are these bloody companies? We've got Scottish Widows, we've got L&G, we've got Aegon, we've got Phoenix, Nest, and Nest is the biggest one, I think, in the workplace pensions. Nest have set up the system so that if you get an Nest pension, when you move from workplace to workplace, the pension follows you about, which makes good sense. And the other one is M&G. All right. Now, if you've got a workplace pension with these companies, folks, either contact your pension company and tell them you don't want them to participate, you don't want them using your funds in this casino gambling scheme that was set out in the Mansion House speech this year. Right.
If you look at the reason they did it, the reason they put these workplace pensions together was it was supposed to be a similar setup to what Germany's got, where people would end up with higher pensions at the end of it, right? And yet again, it was another shot in the guts for the state pension that we've got in the UK, right? So therefore, this is just beyond the pale. It really is. It's bloody ridiculous.
When they introduced the workplace pension, David, I think I said at the time, and I think you and I were doing it in the newspaper columns at the time, it was that long ago. About a decade ago now.
Yeah.
Anyway, when they introduced it, I said at the time, this was the death knell of the state pension. You, me, Sarah, probably Leslie, and people about our age in the mid-50s and above will be the last ones to get state pensions.
Yeah.
You can bet your boots in that.
Yep. Or we can become an independent country and actually use the 85% of natural resources to generate wealth for the people, right? Simple as that. And a pension can be one of those things where the people benefit.
Robert, if you've got a railway pension, I don't know whether railways put their pensions these days, but I imagine it'll be a better scheme than what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We're talking about basically the money for people working in the private sector that are going to get whacked here.
Yeah.
Roddy McDonald, thank you very much. That's very generous of you. And we've got a pair character jumping up on down saying, number one fan apparently. Well done. Now, as I say, folks, I'll read them out again because this is important. If you are in the private sector and you've got a workplace pensions with any of these people, better have a look at this because you could lose up to 10% of the value of the fund. All right, because these are defined benefit funds, these workplace pensions. All right, so it's Scottish Widows, L&G, which is part of the Lloyds Group, right? Aegon, Phoenix, Nest, and M&G. Right, so if your pension is with one of them, have a look into it if you don't want to have them risk 10% of your pensions. Oh, the workplace pension was 2008. That'll explain why David and I were doing it in newspaper columns back in class action. We're still doing it online. It was just in the newspaper columns online back then.
So with all these insurance companies, the phrase of the week is rien ne va plus, mesdames and messieurs.
So
I'm going to spend
we wrote that one up because this is important to ordinary people. They're going to gamble with your pensions. As I say, only 6 companies in the UK have signed up to this. Only 6. And the British Institute of Insurers, UK Institute of Insurers, because I can't stand saying the word British, the UK Institute for Insurers are hard set against this. That's why there's only 6 of the hundreds of companies involved in the defined benefit scheme pensions here in the UK or across these islands have taken up this opportunity to gamble. But as I say, most of these are big providers of workplace pensions.
Please pass this information along to your work colleagues, your next door neighbour, or the rest of it, right? Because if they are taking part in that workplace pension with one of those named companies that we gave you, then they've got the freedom to be able to move that pot to somebody else, right? So therefore, that would give all those big companies a huge hit in the nose. Simple as that.
And Joe DeBeat is saying, you and I are Waldorf and Statler to the Muppets. At least they paid £2 and salted Davy.
Hang on a second. That was pretty good. No, it was pretty bad.
Anyway, so that was important, that one, so we thought to bring it up. Right, let's move on. SNP Westminster Group leader, doing the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers once again, reshuffled his front bench. You got it there?
Yeah, hang on. I need to get out of this. Back to that.
So thanks, Jordy. We'll take insults all day at that price.
Used to be so easy. Come on. Now it is that. Right.
And Dylan sent us a super chat saying, so everyone's pensions are getting screwed over. Well, Dylan, that depends on whether people are willing to take action and move their funds. And any time you gamble in the market, it's a risk, you know. But the way they're talking about it, it won't be a guaranteed loss. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, David, sitting on this side.
Okay, mate. And it comes.
Right. Okay, so it's SNP Westminster leader Stephen Flynn reshuffles frontbench team. This is from Sky News website. Mr. Flynn and his revamping team would seek to... Oh, bloody hell, man. It's blooming tiny. Zoom. Yeah, bring it up. There you go.
Thanks, Gordon. Very generous of you.
Seek to pile pressure on the UK government ahead of the general election expected to take place next year.
Sorry,
remember, David and I have definitely got a wee bit on this. We reckon it's going to be maybe April of next year. That's going to be the general election. 5th of April. Did you say 5th of April, David? Was it 5th of April?
Oh, it'll be sometime in April, I reckon.
SNP Westminster leader Stephen Flynn has reshuffled his front bench with the general election anticipated next year. Mr. Flynn said his revamped team would seek to pile pressure on the UK government ahead of the election. The reshuffle sees Amy Callaghan, who ousted then Liberal Democrat leader Joe Swinson, remember that, to win the East Dunbartonshire seat in 2019 and take over from Martin Day as the party's health spokesperson at Westminster. Ms Callaghan fought cancer as a teenager before suffering a brain hemorrhage. It's incredible what this lass is going through. Anam Kaiser becomes the party's new Levelling Up spokesperson, a post which has been held by Chris Stevens. Mary Black, interesting, remains as Westminster Deputy Leader. You have to look at what the agenda is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Mary Black is saying, right, I've had enough and I'm going, right? We are looking to get independence off the back of the general election by the number of SNP MPs, as long as it's more than 30, right? Then that's it. The people of Scotland have spoken on a single issue, single mandate general election. And so therefore, it doesn't matter if Mary Black, she's very useful where she is, right? However, Stuart Hosey, who is also among the 8 SNP MPs who have so far declared they will not be standing for election next year, has been removed from the economy brief, with Drew Henry taking on this role, right? Also is Philippa Whiteford that we all love. My goodness me, wonderful lady. Another MP who is stepping down is replaced as the party's Scotland spokesperson by Tommy Shepherd. I won't go on because I think that's enough. If you want to, just look up Sky's article on it and you can read the full thing. But I just thought I'd give you the...
That's a better idea. Let's not go to commercial outlets for this information. Go to snp.org.
Aye, that's right. They've got it up. Yeah.
Mr. E, thank you very much. Mr. E, all his pensions is invested with Widdicombe and Pump. Don't know. I don't know who they are, but hey ho. Right, I'll take that down, David.
Yeah. Right.
So, where we go? SNP frontbench now. Stephen Flynn leader, Mary Black deputy leader, Chief Whip Owen Thompson, who was sacked a year ago and is now back as Chief Whip. Brendan O'Hara was given the heave-ho there to let Mr. Thompson back in. He's the guy that the argument with Angus McNeill.
Yeah.
Right, economy spokesman is now Drew Henry. The spokesperson for Scotland, Tommy Shepherd. Health, Amy Callaghan, you just pointed that out. Levelling Up went to the Airdrie MP, Aaron, can't read my writing here, but it's a really nice lassie. Anyway, that brings the Dunbartonshire and Airdrie into the fold on the front bench. And all the other portfolios more or less stay the same. Okay. So that's the reshuffle for Stephen, and he's put this reshuffle in place to get the party fit for this election that we all know is coming.
Yeah. Now, whilst we're on the matters of the SNP, it's like I'm leaving expect to David because he's been reading up a lot on this, which is the programme for government.
Aye.
So can you tell us a wee bit about that, David?
Aye, sure. A new programme of government was announced by Humzel, and there's 14 laws to be presented before the Parliament, and 8 of them are new, or 7 of them are new, 8 have got to do with things that have already been enacted, just tweaking them. All right. Because as we know, when you put something in place, as it develops, you start to see where errors have been made, so you make amendments to laws and you tweak the actual thing on the ground and get it done. Okay, so what was the main points in the programme for government? Now, I had a wee rant about this the other day, but we'll get to that at the end. Okay, I did a wee video on it the other day before we went to work. Right, expansion of early learning and childcare measures, including breakfast clubs and after-school activities to help parents who are in work. And, of course, a widening of childcare. Now, the other thing that's in this is an increase in childcare, childminder's wages to a minimum of £12 an hour. And we've seen that in social care and all. Now, what they're trying to do is encourage people into these positions Now that means that anybody in those sectors who's got a full-time contract will see an uplift of £2,000 a year pre-tax, before tax, in their annual income. That's a fair bounce, David. I mean, they are trying to get it to £15 an hour, but we won't get there until we're independent. Now, the second big thing was expansion of school meals, preschool meal scheme. At the moment, the scheme covers all primary school children from primary 1 to 5. It's to be expanded to all primary school children.
And yet, down that road, they dig their heels in and they just refuse to give the Waynes any free school meals. And it takes football players and all the rest of it to campaign to get them to move an inch. It's ridiculous. Really.
As I say, the third one is increase in pay for social care workers, childminders. As I say, that's the third one. Fourth one, a pilot for the abolition of peak time rail fares.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a pilot for a 4-day week.
Yeah.
A new deal for tenants with rent controls. A 15 million fund to help encourage entrepreneurialism here in Scotland. Now, that's aimed specifically towards universities and things like that, because what we're finding is that Scotland is very innovative. We invent a lot of things, but then these people go elsewhere to have it manufactured. Now, the idea is to try and keep the work here, so that's what this fund is for. Okay.
The amount of ideas that have come out of Scotland and been taken up in other countries is ridiculous. And this is another reason why we need independence, because then we'll be able to actually push things so that the whatever the idea is that comes along is able to be manufactured in our own country. It's got a knock-on effect, and it means that the kids that would want to like up sticks and move to another country, they'll look at it and they'll go, hang on, that's happening. Let's stay. That's the trick. If we can stop
apparently the Widdicombe Pumps was a joke in and Chewing the Fat. That's a TV programme. I don't watch the eye.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the biggest of the new things that have been introduced is introducing rights for those who suffer miscarriage. And this is to put in specific care for those who suffer miscarriage. I didn't know this, but if a woman's got a miscarriage, she's expected back to work within a couple of days. There's no grieving period, nothing, no rights. You know.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, that's for me. That's very, very important.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what sort of humane society would not recognise that people who have went through miscarriage are suffering grief and trauma? I mean, what sort of country wouldn't they have provision in place to help people in such a situation? To find out that there's no such provision across these islands is a bloody outrage.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't just affect, as Madam Director's point, it doesn't just affect women, it affects young men and all. They're looking forward to becoming a father, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that we didn't, as a society, have something there to look after the needs of people in that position, bloody outrages me.
That's an outrage. Of course it is.
But to realise that there's nothing in place for anybody across these islands shows you how absolutely devoid of empathy when it comes to this situation that apparently we've been through the years.
It's a very good word, that, empathy.
You know, it was our societies have been devoid of empathy for this situation for so long, and I'm talking right across these islands, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. Apparently we have ignored this issue. And that, I just find that flabbergasting. So I would like to congratulate the Scottish Parliament and the coalition government along there for introducing a bill which is going to cover this and put in place mandatory care for these people.
That's unless Alistair Jack gets his hands on it.
Of course, that's unless we get Section 30 order. That one would be interesting. I can see riots I always had hoped there'd be riots. In fact, I don't know why there hasn't been riots to get this stuff in place years ago. But as I say, they're the 7 new things in the programme for government. If you want to see the whole programme for government, folks, snp.org, and it's there. And you'll get it straight to the horse's mouth without any bullshit. Now, afterwards, of course, they took questions. And this is where we're getting the miss. Now, I did an angry video on this, David. And this is going to do with how the mainstream media and the opposition parties are undermining the very foundations of democracy in Scotland. Because they are calling Humza the continuity candidate and the continuity First Minister. Now, as you and I both know, and I did a rant on this, David, the reason why his continuity is he's going to abide by a manifesto he was voted in on in 2021, because that was the prospectus put in front of the Scottish people by the SNP.
What's the phrase you used? I bloody hope it is.
I said it bloody well better be, you're right.
Yeah.
Because that's the manifesto we voted the SNP in on. That wasn't just the leader, that was the party. So you can take the leader and change it, but you can't change that manifesto. This is the Westminster. We're not an anti-democratic country. We're a democratic country. Just because the person in the hot seat's changed, that doesn't change the fact that that person's going to abide by the 2021 manifesto commitments.
Yeah.
You know, what we've seen down that road is Johnson went out the door, and in came the cabbage, and then the cabbage went out the door, and in came this latest idiot, a small man's Rishi the insider trader. And what we've seen is each one of these people have scrapped manifesto commitments and rewrote their own in their own image. They're not allowed to do that. Nobody took going to the public in the form of an election and putting that proposition before the public.
In other words, they have broken a contract with the public in England.
That's right. Because the contract the public have with the government is the manifesto commitments they're voted in on.
Yeah.
And as I pointed out in the video, where I was raging against even people on our side, and the yes side call them continuity. What's up with these people? Are they too fucking stupid to understand how democracy works? Wow. This is the basics of how our democracy works. This is the foundation of how our democracy works. The parties put a manifesto before the people read the manifesto and decide which party is going to do the best for them based on their manifesto commitments and pledges.
And so say all of us.
Somebody says I have to stop shouting. I guess you've not seen this show before, mate. I've been known to rant, but you know, the reason why I'm shouting is because when people on our side of the debate don't understand how democracy works, we're banging our head off a brick effing wall.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear the people of other political parties on our side going, continuity. Do you not understand how this works? Wow.
Anyway, right. What about the Rutherglen election?
Date's been set for it, mate. 30 October.
Yeah.
So, folks, we need to win that seat. So you might be running across me here the next few Saturdays, standing in Hamilton Main Street, telling everybody what a bloody liar Keir Starmer is. I'm going to take his commitments with me. I'm going to explain to the people of Hamilton how it is that this particular man stole a political party.
Yes. He certainly did.
So, it's time to get off our arses, folks. If we're going to win this, then anybody here in South Lanarkshire, anybody in North South Lanarkshire, or the west, the east end of Glasgow, get battered into Rutherglen and get battered into Hamilton West, and make sure that people are aware what exactly it is. I'll mind my blood pressure, mate, don't worry about that. What exactly it is, this BAM point.
Don't forget the other point, which is crippling for Scottish Labour, is the fact that we now know, written in tablets of stone by the Electoral Commission, that Scottish Labour They might exist as a bit of paper, right? But they are not a political party. They are just part of London Labour. They are just part of English Labour.
Right. Now, let me reply to Luke's, let me reply here to Luke's, Luke's, aye, Luke's. Everybody tells me to mind my blood pressure, so thank you very much. But people like it when Davy goes in a rant.
See, I haven't been able to go in a rant because I went for an echogram, a cardiogram this morning, right? And the wee wifey that was actually doing it, she was quite good, honestly. I love taking part or going in and getting the NHS to do things for me and all that. It's great, it really, really is. And the wee woman said, I said, well, how many weeks have I got to live? She said, oh, no. You'll outlive me. She was 96, mind. Anyway, that's another matter.
We've got 18 English MPs running the Rutherglen at the moment. People of Rutherglen, you have my kind permission to give them wet fuck.
Get them till somewhere.
Yeah, I was reading in the local press in South Lanarkshire, there's a stushy going on in the Labour Party at the moment there, so and the activists are not that active for the Labour Party at the moment. They must be using leaflet drafts or something because there's such a fight going on there with the candidate that was drafted in, and now there's a stushy going between the Labour councillors in South Lanarkshire, so it's quite funny. Yeah. Right, where are we? So that was Rutherglen. Perry Holden says Scotland is a rat-infested shithole where Victorian disease is running high. That was on the Commons yesterday, after being asked a question by Deirdre Brock. And she says that the SNP just scapegoat everybody and blames everything on the execution of Mary Queen of Scots and the Highland clearances. Oh, what a thumper that is.
I watched that movie. It was quite good, right? But no, I can't say that.
So you people in Glasgow, apparently you live in a rat-infested shithole. Anybody visited London?
I spent a year in London working on their O2 Arena, and that was right. If you look at it on EastEnders, right on the Thames, right? And I'll tell you what, the size of the rats there, and it was hooching with them, right? London is riddled with rats.
Anyway, this wife teacher tells us that we're all our streets are abound with vermin, and that we're all dying of Victorian diseases. So we're just basically a backwater, folks, according to the leader of the House of Commons. So I just thought I'd let you know. It was brilliant. It was good. It was worth a lot. It was worth watching.
This is
put it up, David.
This is a female. No, I don't have. Oh, hang on, I do. Hang on a second.
Aye, but I don't have time to play it, David. We're getting near the time and I've got work.
Aye, fine, no worries. Okay. Don't forget, this is a female that was given the special job of handing the sword and the orb and all the rest of it to King Big Ears, right, at his coronation, right. So yet again, she is just another one of these women that go, oh, they bring in tourism, you know. So
right. This is also the one that said that the Highland clearances were the right idea to deal with us independent supporters. You know?
I was reading something today. Do you realise when the Highland clearances ended in Scotland? We're talking 1850.
Aye.
Well, okay, you might think that's a long time ago, but my grandmother was born in 1889, I think it was, right? So that's like as far as I'm concerned, 3 generations back, right? It's not that long ago. You know? Bloody hell.
Part of them don't mind the rats, it's black bogies will go up on noses. Right, let's move on because we're running out of time here. Yep. A minority across the UK say preserving the union is a priority, says the Institute for Public Policy Research. Now, they did a massive poll, and as it turns out, actually, people don't really give a shit about the union.
Yep.
It's not a priority for the people of England, Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales to preserve the union. It's no priority.
Yeah, even unions are put off by sidelining of devolved governments.
Yeah, unionists, according to this report, are put off by the muscular unionism that has been in since Boris Johnson's sidelining the devolved administrations. That includes things like Jack Boots putting his boot down, the denial of Scottish democracy. This is all turning up people in other parts of the UK towards Westminster. They really are as thick as they look, David, in that House of Thieves and carpetbaggers.
Yeah.
You know, they really are.
Finally, we're just going to get it in if we can. What do you think about the Birmingham bankruptcy?
Oh, well, Birmingham City Council issues a Section 114 order declaring that it has no more money to spend on anything other than essential services. So no potholes will be getting filled, there'll be no buildings being repaired, there'll be no unnecessary social activities. You'll probably find libraries starting to close, swimming baths and places like that starting to close. You're going to find there'll be layoffs just to be able to keep a little money's left to run things like social services, social work.
Are they Green, Labour, Tory, or Lib Dem? What are they?
It's a Labour council at this point in time. But remember, 4 other councils in England have already issued Section 114 orders. The councils can't become bankrupt as such. But
and the other thing is, what has caused this bankruptcy? What's the major cause?
That's a good point. Just come up with Croydon, the Tory administration, has also issued the Section 114 order. And what's really causing the problem is equal pay for women.
Yeah.
The TMB union doing that road did what they did in Glasgow, and they set up a system where it looked as if equal pay was being awarded through the pay grades, but it wasn't. So now they've got a £775 million bill that they can't afford to pay. Now, as we know, Labour up here in Scotland spent 3 years, 10 million quid, fighting equal rights for women at Glasgow City Council, and then they dumped it on the lap of the SNP and left them with a £500 million bill to settle, and it has now risen to the same as Birmingham Council and is sitting at 770 million. And when the Labour leader in the Glasgow City Council this week tried to blame the SNP for the fact that Glasgow's skin, you couldn't make it up.
Oh.
So, but what we're saying down that road in the light of the Birmingham situation is it looks like a lot more. These are the first few dominoes that are about to go ticking over. Now, when you throw in the amount of money it's going to cost to repair all the public buildings down there with rack in them, and that includes police stations, courts, libraries, all these sort of things, we're looking at an awful lot of councils that are going to go belly up here.
Yeah. Right, anyway, that's time. Okay. If you like what we did, please, if you can, if you haven't done before, please subscribe to the channel, because it does help. It helps all sorts of things. It helps also with the advertising revenue that we get. It's not much, but it may help us to get a bit of software or whatever to improve this service. Okay.
We're there now, we're in pocket. It's going to food banks.
Yeah. So the other one is if you like what we did, please hit the like button. The likes are what drive the advertising revenue. Yeah. Not just the number of people watching. Okay.
Yeah, so, everybody doing the day, David. I haven't ranted enough.
Don't make them rant, for goodness sake.
I'll save the rants for the dailies I'm coming up with when I do a daily, alright?
Yeah. All right.
And Liebchen, thanks very much. Your contribution has been valuable today. And Dylan, thanks for the real news, and thanks for the ice cream at the end of my. The ice cream was a pleasure, sir. Thank you and David. Thank you and your daddy for the kind contribution to food bank funds that you've constantly given. Okay, thanks, Dylan, son. And I'll be surprised for you, Dylan. So next time I see you, I'll hopefully have it with me for you. Okay, I've got a wee surprise for you. Right. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, folks. Share across your social media platforms, please. And thanks for all your kind contributions. We'll be starting to get it out to the food banks in the East Coast this week.
And don't forget the insurance companies involved in this blooming pension scam. Right?
You see no pension scam.
I'm sure David will put up a wee bit with showing the pension companies involved, and that would be useful. So if you go into David's timeline, you'll see that.
All right. I'm getting out the door. I'll get it up to watch.
We'll do it tomorrow. All right.
Tomorrow. All right. Thanks, folks. Hey, like and share. Thanks very much. Catch you. I just lose one thing with today, David.
Hi, David. Bye, guys.